Welcome, strays and wanderers, to another thrilling episode of A War of Bang and Fur. I'm Cameron Holt, the Dungeon Master for the evening. I'm joined as always by the Arcana crew.
Woo! We weren't ready.
The successful Arcana crew, I should say.
Yeah,
What you call the only time one of us doesn't die in a fight?
hell yeah.
Well, you murdered all of the people that you came to murder. Nobody died, and you got away pretty much scot-free. I'd call that a win.
Heck yeah. I also stole that guy's armor.
Yeah, you got armor,
yeah.
you got
Some weapons.
weapons and stuff, yeah. It's going well. Things are going all right, comparatively.
Half of us are dead.
Over half of you.
Force of us are dead.
I mean, you know.
Next.
No.
We continue from where we left off. The Bear General's heads rest soundly within your packs as you venture once more into the depths of the crypts and tunnels beneath the Temple of the Ardors. As you enter and make some headway into the crypts, Fuzzwin is still there, waiting just where they said they would be. They seem too afraid to flee. You guys can make some either perception or insight checks.
I stabbed them.
Oh, I'm good at insight. Oh, I didn't roll any of these to see if they were any good today. I'll just have to go with
25.
the logic of the randomness of the dice.
29.
Disgusting.
16 insight.
Nice.
17.
Excellent. Those of you on this side who rolled over 20, you see that there's a crypt that was not previously open, that like the lid has just been kind of like slightly shifted, but it doesn't look like they reached in and took anything. Seems like they maybe considered it, but then like upon opening and seeing that there was indeed what you should expect, a body inside, they got a little squeamish and decided not to go for the gems, and instead just kind of awkwardly stood here waiting to see if you were ever going to come back. And you did. Covered in much more blood than when you left. Well, a little bit more blood than when you left.
I think that there's a dead-eyed stare between Hugin and Fuzzwin. And she just moves on.
Right. And you all continue on through the crypts. You put a healthy amount of distance between yourselves and the massacre that you left behind, and eventually slow your pace on your way to rendezvous with the allied forces of Arctos and Vulpes, now being more certain that no one is currently pursuing you. You don't have to rush your way all the way there. What conversations, if any, occur during the trek towards the joint armies?
What is our new plan?
Kill the armadillo. It's not new.
Do
The last thing on the list.
But do we
There's
go to him? Do we try to get him here? We have to, like, we have an idea, but we need like a plan.
We should start smaller, right? Should you send message to Liliana's sister so that the bears know that we are coming with the heads? So
Yes.
that maybe we don't have the armies clashing if they don't have to?
That is a good idea. We had decided earlier we were going to do that.
Would be much easier to kill Armadillo if we get bears on our side. We take House Arctos and Vulpes to the
Yes.
capital and
Yes.
storm it or whatever.
I mean, not to be presumptuous, but somebody would probably come here once word gets out that we've taken back Halhar.
This is true.
It would be easier to fortify one place than to storm another.
But they don't know that it's us that have taken Howlheart.
Oh,
They'll think that the Bear General, or the Bear King rather, has taken Howlheart from the rebels. They don't know that we're here.
This could be potentially more contentious because it could come off as one of two ways. Either the assumption is that King Ulrich has taken Howlheart as a gift to the High King, or it could look like King Ulrich is claiming Howlheart for himself, which could be viewed as a slight against the crown, if I'm not mistaken.
If we make it look like it's a gift to the High King, quote unquote, perhaps we can use that gift along with Azalea's body to lure the armadillo here. He'd have to come here to accept this gift. Perhaps the only thing that could lure him away from his capital. The safety there.
What does King Ulrich know? Does he know that I was even a part of this?
I'd say that's up to you, Liliana, how much you whether or not you stated who it was that you were doing this for and with. I say you would have had the option of telling the full truth. You also would have had the option of leaving out Hugin and stating that this was just a venture of House Vulpes. Although I do think to have divulged the full plan would have required telling him that you were trying to reclaim Howlheart for its rightful heir.
I think I would have gone somewhere in between with, like, stating that House Luperel as an overarching entity
Okay.
was...
Yeah, I'm going to make a quick insight check in that case for King Ulrich and see if he would have put together whether or not... Let's say, go ahead and make a either deception or persuasion check. Okay.
That's not a lie.
Yeah, go ahead and make a persuasion check, and this will set the DC for his insight to see if he's able to put together that it's Hugin you're talking about.
Well, it would have been Azalea at the time.
Oh, that's true. It would have been Azalea. So, either way.
Well, Hugin was still the queen of House Luperel, but
Right.
it's irrelevant.
The
Could
whole-
he have sussed out what I meant?
Exactly.
The whole story was contingent upon saying that the armadillo was a traitorous douchebag and that Azalea was the rightful High Queen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
But Ulrich would also be aware of word that has spread across the Nuttlewood Grove that Hugin rescued Azalea. So he would have probably assumed that that the two sisters-in-law would be together.
Yeah.
But this is just to decide. 24? Nice. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, Liliana, you're not entirely certain whether or not he has sussed out who exactly you were referring to, but hearing that it was being reclaimed for House Luperel was enough, and hearing of Bristlebeard's transgressions against the kingdom was enough to get him on board.
I mean, he was open to what we wanted.
I just feared that since he was aligned with the armadillo, that he might have told him something, but if we don't think that's the case, then we can try to get the armadillo here. Otherwise, I'm all for storming the fucking castle, burning him down inside of it.
I mean, that's your...
So,
We're under your orders at this time.
I will say that did not seem to go as well for you last time as we had hoped. However, we did not have two armies at our back then. I say we, you. I was not there. Also, you got me now.
Last time it wasn't
That would have
so much
made
storming.
all the difference.
Could have.
Last time it was supposed to be just a conversation. All right.
I mean, I'm fine with your intentions just being killing the armadillo, but I know a lot of other people are gonna want to know your intentions afterwards.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Once the armadillo is dead,
Right.
it was Queen Azalea who was betrothed to Skjold Beetlebane, who would have taken the throne of the High King next, and as the only remaining blood-related family member of House Luperel, that would then fall to Hugin.
Hugin just kind of looks and sees that everybody is staring at her and is searching for Munin and
Yeah, Munin is like,
and Rob.
Queen Hugin. Ross? He's like, right, yes. Queen Hugin.
Goodness. I need to sit down.
Kind of like push some bones off of a stone nearby.
Like, what are we offering to the other armies? What's
Well, House Vulpes has fealty to, I suppose at this point, myself and my sister, but as of now, they're fighting on behalf of Azalea. Which could be contentious when they arrive and she is not.
Munin speaks up. She's like standing over by Hugin, who's like sitting down and breathing. She's like rubbing your back, and she looks up. The noble houses of the Nettlewood Grove, should they not be traitorous, will follow the rightful High King or Queen, whoever that may be. In this instance, following bloodline paths and decrees that were made, which Sir Rob can rightfully attest to, that would fall to Hugin. So, as long as they know the truth, they should rally to our banners.
What if there were no High King or Queen? What if we dissolved the position and it was just 4 heads of Nettlewood Grove that...
Well, if...
You're right.
Yes, if you become High Queen, you can do whatever you want with that station. You could decree that there is no longer nobility. You could split the wealth of the noble houses amongst all of the people equally. You could do literally whatever you want. You would have the highest power in the land.
That power shouldn't exist.
And if you think that is the case, you can make it so, from that seat.
You would have to put people who agree with you in positions below, otherwise that would almost certainly trigger civil war. All over the Nettlewood Grove.
I can think of a certain beast with a particularly wide scowl that would be very excited about this, I think. That could bring him and his little rebels to our aid as well, perhaps.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
The noble houses will riot over this manner of decree. But if they have nothing to offer besides their birthright, what purpose do they serve?
It wouldn't be something you could do overnight. You would have to set the stage for it. You'd have to gather popular support. It's not impossible if you want to do it. You just have to not be rash. Otherwise, it will just get you killed.
Step one is rendezvous with the bears, bring them to our side, remove Bristlebeard. From there, we put the crown on Hugin's head. You choose a council of 5 that you trust. They will be appointed second highest in the land. And from there, you can build up or dismantle as you see fit.
All right. Let's meet with these bears.
I have prepared a sending to King Ulrich.
Okay.
So I'll send. We have killed the general and his lieutenants. We can present you with their heads.
You're sending this to King Ulrich specifically?
To
Oh, I guess I should send it to.
Asher?
Yeah.
As Ash?
Ish.
Ash.
I probably wouldn't be able to send to King Ulrich direct. Well, I could, but he doesn't know me from anyone.
Also, you don't know if he would have marched out with his armies or not. He may still be back in Riddle Hill Run.
That's a good point. So I'll send this to Ash then.
Okay.
Also, he could have been boning.
50%
Just be
chance.
like, wait, what?
Time.
50-50.
Stop using up the words.
Sorry, are you boning?
It's just a bunch of
Follow-up
money.
question.
Think about baseball. Think
Do you
about
like
baseball.
He just
Fair.
responded with a bunch of grunts.
Bears ball? I don't know what they have. Okay, so the message I'll send to Ash. We have killed the general and his lieutenants. We can present you their heads. Please force surrender to unite your forces. Please reply.
A response comes. Is Liliana with you? Is she safe? Oh, I've got a counter. Don't worry.
Oh,
We're at 30.
Yes and yes.
this doesn't take up any of the words, but you get a sense of like, right then, it will be done. We'll see you soon. You've got 6 words left.
TTYL.
Where should we meet?
I think you were going to
They
meet them.
Yeah,
Oh.
because they would have forces on the outside of.
Yeah, they're approaching.
I'll just say, where?
Beneath Grand Oak. And that's the last word.
I was like, make it poetic. It better be sick.
Is there a Grand Oak? Some sort of Grand Oak that would be notable?
Yeah, it's the largest oak tree in all of Howlheart. Is maybe a mile or 2 outside of like the outer villages surrounding the walled city. The
Big
keep
ass
itself.
tree. Right. We're going there.
They specifically inquired whether you were safe.
I snuck off a little bit.
Oh.
Oh,
We had assumed that she was sent ahead.
gotcha.
I was not.
No.
I had
that's not
an
the case.
icky feeling,
An,
which was correct.
an icky feeling. Understood. I know what you mean.
Well, I'd have been dead without you, so I'm glad you did. Speaking of, is there any chance for a short rest or anything like that?
Sure. You guys can take an hour before you head out towards the Grand Oak to rendezvous with the allied war camps, for sure. You can roll any hit dice you would like to heal up.
I have a feeling, or at least a hope, that we'll get to do an actual rest before we have any more big battles, because it'll take some time for people to get places.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Fingers crossed.
But you never know.
You never know, do ya?
I'd certainly take advantage of the short rest.
I don't need
That's
to.
not ominous at all.
That's fine.
Could be a misdirect. Who knows?
Okay, let's see.
I am low on spells now after all the sendings and whatnot.
We all know you're not smart enough for that, Cameron.
I've only used 2 spells too. I'm good.
We all know you've been
Since-
angling to murder all of us since day one.
Since we took a long rest, we had the bar fight, the temple fight, the outside the temple fight. So I've got like a 4th level spell slot and 3 2nd level and 3 first. Like
I think I used
I
all.
used up all of my 3rd and most of my 4th level spells and my 5th.
Yeah, paladins don't get many spells. Clerics have a decent amount.
Almost all my spells left, and I'm at full HP.
I am at full HP.
What have you done?
30.
You killed like 2 people too.
I'll kill you.
Yeah.
Like the Belters in The Expanse, he's just hucking rocks at people.
I got back exactly to full.
Hell
off
yeah.
My hit point roll.
Nice.
So when we were talking about possibly undoing the hierarchy of the kingdom and stuff, did I get a sense of how Brass Vandalore was like reacting to that?
Oh, make an insight check.
13?
He didn't seem opposed to it. Whether that, whether he harbors some sort of nefarious will of like, yes, collapse the power structure so that I might reclaim Duneborough and then come take you over.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't necessarily get any vibes like that. He seems just kind of very chummy and down to go with whatever you guys are looking to do, which is kind of odd, but there doesn't seem to be anything nefarious about it. You guys take a minute and lick your wounds and patch yourselves up before heading back onto the path. Do you... So eventually you are led through the crypts by Hugin, who you bring them to an old abandoned silver mine that deposits you out already kind of in the forests outside of the city, so that you're just maybe an hour or 2 walk away from where you're meant to rendezvous. Do you allow Fuzzwin to leave at this point, or are you going to keep them with you?
Is there enough time for them to get to the bears to cause any trouble? That's what I'm wondering.
Probably not.
Okay.
like even full sprint from here, it would probably take an hour and a half or 2 hours to get to the city itself. The army has positioned themselves far enough outside that they can kind of set up camp and, have their own sort of like battle station without risking, the bears coming out to meet them. Like they're not right outside the walls or anything.
Okay.
Should we still be hiding our appearances so that our involvement in this is unknown? And if so, perhaps it's best if this individual stays with us.
I mean, I could summon a bug and tell it to watch him for a bit. And, after like an hour,
Do you have
it'd go about its way.
any intent against what is occurring here?
No. I probably shouldn't even go back to my bar.
No, probably you're safer here.
I think maybe I'll go with you to the army.
Oh, sure.
Rather be on the outside when they're doing the occupying.
Your safety is important to us, as is our safety, which is why we should stick together.
Right. Okay. Well, lead the way.
Can I do a once over for any knives, weapons?
Yeah, make a perception check.
20!
Nice. Yeah, this person doesn't have anything on them.
Great.
They have like a little, you see like the end of a piece of wood sticking out from one pocket that you recognize as a common tool. It's kind of like a piece of wood that is long and flat, and it's kind of like beveled at one end, and it's used for opening bottles.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or shivving people in the neck.
Yeah, it is not sharp.
If I get killed
It's
by
just
a barky,
it's basically a stick. Yeah. All right. Setting out, you continue on your way as the sun begins to rise on the horizon. And you make your way through the woods as the sun rises and eventually approach the Allied war camps. You see that there are a number of soldiers who have set up various tents. It's basically just like this large oak tree in the center surrounded by a sea of makeshift tents and campfires that have been set up. And a number of soldiers are going about their mornings, armoring themselves up, preparing for the day to come. You see mostly foxes and bears, but there are also a number of wolves, coyotes, and dogs. Hugin, you spot more than a few surcoats of red and gold that have the paw print moon of House Luperel present among the army's rank and file. You get the sense that a lot of the soldiers of House Luperel who either escaped or were not present in Howlheart during the initial insurrection probably jumped at the chance to come reclaim their home city for their house that they think is lost. Let's see real quick. A familiar face to some of you, specifically to Hugin. Dame Liliana, you would recognize them as well. A little pug with a smashed face and a scar over one eye, wearing a little Robin Hood-esque cap that's actually like flipped around backwards, has a bow slung around himself and arrows on his back, rushes forward. You know this to be Boggle, the archer from the Tournament of Champions and brother to Borgle, the former servant of House Luperel. He rushes forward.
You have arrived. Please, follow me. I shall take you to your rendezvous with King Ulrich Ironhide, as well as Lady Basil and Lady Ash. If you would.
Just a wave of like, oh shit, that's a lot of people that died along the way that now are having to face all of their loved ones. Okay.
I'm gonna
Good to
just
see
like
you,
kind of
Boggle.
go on your shoulder.
Yes, I look forward to reclaiming our homeland.
And he leads you through the war camp, and eventually you are escorted to a tent where, standing outside, is Lady Basil. She kind of looks up and sees all of you. Remind me, has she been informed of what happened to Azalea yet?
I don't think
No.
so.
We haven't told anyone yet, have we?
No.
No.
Oh shit, this is not gonna be good.
Maybe I should drop a calm emotions spell before we tell her. Though she might like that even less.
It is kind of the idea of walking up to somebody being like, here, take this.
I will say, I've made an insight check for Lady Basil. As you all approach, she kind of like looks over all of you and realizes, you can see that moment of realization that Azalea is not present with you. She sees the look on all of your faces, and you see for a moment there is a welling up of tears in the eyes before she goes stone-faced and straightens her back. This is a woman who has experienced probably more loss in her life than you're aware of, and already has certain walls in place. She doesn't say Azalea's name. She doesn't mention anything about her. She doesn't ask about her. She just straightens up, kind of looks over all of you, and she's like, I presume we have another plan moving forward?
It would seem that we do.
Right, well, the king awaits. And she pulls open the tent flaps to the side so that you may all enter.
Fuck me.
Stepping inside, you see a number of black bears, including one sort of at the head of a table who is quite large and has gone, like, most black bears are roundabouts the same size as a lot of usually they're kind of smaller than a lot of the wolves of House Luperel. This one puts all of them, is like maybe a good half a foot shorter than he is. He is large and broad, and he's kind of started where he would normally be brown around the snout and eyes has gone gray. He has a cape of black with silver trim over his shoulders, and you all notice, probably for the first time seeing them in person since the Tournament of Champions, King Ulrich Ironhide himself appears to have made the trek along with his armies.
Bow to him, King Ulrich.
Kind of like nods, takes all of you in. Who has a passive perception above 15? Papa does.
My passive perception is exactly 15.
Nice.
Got a 17.
23.
Hell yeah. So Pakal, Elzor, and Hugin.
Twitching eyes.
Eyes everywhere.
You all notice as he's kind of like arms bent at the elbows at the table. As you all enter, he like stands. His right arm goes down. His left arm kind of just swings back, and you notice it doesn't seem to really bend at the elbow. You have heard tales of King Ulrich's part that he played in the Great Hunt, and that he was a shield for the people, and that seems to have taken its toll. As you don't know exactly how much because he's wearing a lot of drapery and cloth and clothing, but you'd wager that a good portion of his arm is probably made of diamond.
I was just about to say.
So I don't shake his hand.
It's his left arm, his shield arm.
I mean, he's not King Midas.
No. He did it the
It'd
same
just be
way.
super rude. Maybe I am just really rude. Like, let's shake hands.
He stands and kind of nods at all of you. Well, I would like to see the proof, please.
Unceremoniously taking out bare heads. And just...
There's a moment. You see emotion cross his face. He doesn't seem as good at hiding it as Lady Basil was. There's this moment of silence as he looks down at the heads before looking away. They were traitorous, treasonous spiders. But once they were my sons. Take these away from me, please. And you see a couple of his guardsmen come out and collect the heads, wrapping them in cloth and taking them away. He holds up a paw. His guards kind of like stop as they're taking them. Place them on pikes. Have them ready at the vanguard. I shall be there shortly after this meeting to make the announcement and call for the rebels to stand down. His soldiers nod, take the heads out, preparing to place them upon spikes at the front of the army. Kind of takes a moment to collect himself. You look familiar to me. What is your father's name?
My father's name was Jerem. He used to make weapons.
Jerem, the swordsmith.
Yeah.
Great animal, brilliant and true. I'll have you know, I was one of the dissenting votes against having the Black Fang and that beast sent to your father's work.
I'm glad that one of his bloodline has yet survived.
One needs it. So there are boats.
Yes, the former High King, Gavric Golden-Tail, I believe, heard through the spider network that he's, well, now High King Bristlebeard, used to be the spy master for the High King. It came through his webs that your father was working on something potentially dangerous, and so Gavric Golden-Tail called a meeting of his Council of Five, the Five Kings, and we brought it to a vote to see whether or not something should be done about this. I did not view it as right to interrupt the ingenuity of one who is just practicing their craft and their trade, honing their trade. Queen Willa was also a dissenting vote, but we were outweighed by House Kane, House Luperel, and the High King himself. I'm truly sorry about what happened.
Have we ever? Are any of us familiar with the spider network?
Yeah, you're all aware that Bristlebeard, before he became the High King due to a series of unfortunate events, he was the spy master. There's a term for it. It's the...
You're like the Master of Whispers or something?
It's like the Hand of the King. So yeah, Bristlebeard's title was the Throne Warden to the High King. But it was pretty well known to most people that he had a network of spies that worked under him that he called his little spiders, that would send him information through his web, and that's kind of how he knew everything that was going on all the time, everywhere.
Huh.
It's hiding in dark corners, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been a lot of speculation, like, for obvious reasons, nobody knows who exactly his spies are, but a lot of people think that he would hire little orphans and children to be listening in brothels and on the street and just getting information from wherever he could for very little pay.
Did he spell spiders with a Y for the bit?
Probably he did.
Cute.
I kind of love and hate that at the same time. Didn't know that murder was so democratic, but I appreciate you for at least that.
Yes. Well, make an insight check.
14, I believe.
Yeah, you get the sense that I feel like both of you are kind of getting similar vibes off of each other, which is just a tiny bit of hypocrisy. For him to mention I voted to save your father, and you being like, didn't realize it was so democratic after just throwing 3 of his son's heads on the floor in front of him. Neither of you are particularly interested in befriending the other at the moment, but each of you have an understanding that there is still conversation to be had before things go down.
This is just me asking out of game, do we know if the general and the lieutenants were his sons, or just that general?
They were all his sons. He has a lot of kids.
We killed 2 of them at the wedding, and then these are the other 3 that were aligned with him.
I mean,
yeah,
probably
you guys
got 50.
Yeah, you guys are aware that...
No, but I'm saying of the ones that were leading it.
The dissenters.
Yeah. You are aware that King Ulrich is very much poly. He has 6 wives and probably countless mistresses, and a lot of kids. Again, there's a 50% chance at any time when you call this guy that he's banging, making more little heirs.
I mean, he's living the way a king wants.
Yeah, he is prolific.
Go off, king.
So, we quell the rebellion. We take back the castle. What then? What is your plan from here?
Is Lady Basil in the room with us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just wanted to set that stage mentally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be taking in his reaction to this and just blatantly say to kill the armadillo.
I see.
I could be persuaded to aid you, to lend you my armies. But I'll need to hear the full story first, before I participate in regicide. Would anyone like to attempt to truncate the events that have led us here for King Ulrich? You don't have to roleplay it if you don't want to, if you just kind of want to...
I would like to attempt to do this with advantage.
Cool.
If everybody's cool. I have a closing argument.
Okay.
Guidance.
Yes.
Okay. Why do you have advantage? Because they're helping you?
I'm working on something.
Okay. Right, make your argument first and then we'll roll for it. I see what you're saying.
Yes. I think given all of the events up to now, I understand they have very little to do with you and your station. However, your sons were using this place under the Armadillo's rule, and he did nothing despite being well able to have done so. So you truly don't know where his alliances are.
This is true.
Still haven't told him.
Oh, what do you know?
No, we just haven't told him that you're interested.
That is
That Azalea's dead.
Oh, I think that's implied by all of us being here and she not.
I mean, it makes more sense for the mom.
He did just ask for the full story.
Yeah.
That was the end cap
Okay.
to that.
But you're wanting us to go through it all so that we can tell him exactly
Yeah,
what
I'm asking what
information
points
he
you
knows.
lay out before King Ulrich to bring him to your side. You don't have to necessarily tell him every single thing, but I would like to know what you do tell him.
Got it.
We have to tell him, like, how being presented king and queen and all that stuff had gone down, and blah, 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 obviously.
Sir Rob speaks up and backs that up, that he was given the scroll and read aloud the scroll at the wedding, the decree that Skjol Beetlebane had been named the heir to the High King, Gabbert Goldentail.
And
I'm saying this more as a player than a character.
No, for sure. Yeah, that's why I said we don't have to RP it. You guys can just throw out what you say and what you don't.
as he and Azalea were lawfully married, then whenever he died, that title passed to Azalea. And then the armadillo betrayed everybody, which I wasn't there for, but he summoned us and betrayed us at that private meeting. Like, he assassinated several members of the retinue, and then assassinated more in the execution after seizing power.
Yeah, Brass will step in and state that after this double cross within the castle, he then tried to paint you all as treasoners, and that actually the High King had died long before that at the tournament and not in the castle.
We definitely didn't kill him.
Also, the armadillo.
The High King herself.
None of you did.
Yeah. Also, the armadillo killed off the old Queen Mother and all of the royal guard that wasn't part of his Black Fang to consolidate his power.
Yeah, Brass
That's
is
actually a really good point.
Brass is like, specifically he killed the 2 royal guardsmen who knew that the High King was in the Tournament of Champions and were there to protect him.
Right.
Yeah.
Then he killed the High Queen. Munin will then speak up, probably with Elzor's help, about her relationship with King Lupin, and about the fact that that means that Hugin is now the blood heir to the High Throne. After all of that, you guys can choose who, but I need one of you to make a persuasion check with advantage. I would presume it would probably be Liliana, as you spoke the end cap about another reason that Bristlebeard can't be trusted, where his allegiances lie.
Okay. I'm gonna take the guidance just because I don't know what this guy has going on.
Didn't you say it with advantage also?
Yes.
Oh, just in case. Okay,
Yeah. That's good.
That's one.
Yeah.
for a total of 33.
Hot damn.
I want to say that this whole time, everybody else has been speaking, and since I said to kill the armadillo, Hugin has said nothing but is just staring at him while everybody else is telling the story and corroborating it, even though she's been there from the start.
Yeah, he listens to all of your arguments. Well, that is all that I need to know. The kings of the four kingdoms of the Netwood Grove exist as wardens, council. We serve the High Queen, the High King. That is your rightful title. It falls to you, as does my allegiance. And King Ulrich steps down from the chair where he's been seated and kneels before you. It's kind of like a shock of silence around the room before all of his guardsmen that are present also kneel, seeing that their king is showing deference. And eventually he stands back up as Boggle hops back into the room and rushes over and kind of like whispers into King Ulrich's ear. As he does, the other ear kind of like twitches while he's listening. It would seem that the trek of House Arctos and Vulpes across the Netwood Grove did not go unnoticed. It would appear that there's a retinue from Oakreach headed towards our position.
How soon will they arrive?
If the information I have been given by our scouts is to be believed, they will be here on the morrow. Perhaps midday, perhaps sooner.
Do we know who is leading the retinue?
We don't know for certain. We know that there are a number of foot soldiers. It is essentially an army. A number of members of the Black Fang have been spotted, as well as 4 different palanquins. So, it's...
Is a palanquin like a big carriage thing? Is that?
Yeah, a palanquin is a carriage that's carried by people.
Right, okay. I thought so. I just wanted to clarify.
4.
Would you all like me to try to see if the armadillo is with this force that is coming, or if he is still back in Oakreach?
I mean, yeah, we should probably get to know where he is.
I assume he's in one of the 4 palanquins, and that the whole point is to create a diversion so that if you strike any one of them, he's less likely to be in it.
Well, I can try to discern if he is with the force, and if so, where in the force he is. I'll just need a little bit of time. I'll
Yes.
go off in a corner and do some divination.
While the owl does his divining, I shall take the head of my armies,
As a ritual.
and we shall squash this rebellion. Should fighting erupt, I trust our combined forces to be able to handle it. We've brought an excess of soldiers needed to recapture the keep. Hopefully we can get through this without fighting. If not, I will make myself present for a meeting with whoever's leading this charge from Oakreach on tomorrow. If the armadillo is present, this could be no better opportunity.
Is there a tent we can maybe stay up in or something, you know?
Yes, Boggle, show them to guest quarters. Also, provide each of them with the livery of House Arctos, so that you might blend in with my retinue on the morrow during this meeting. Should you
Thank you.
choose.
King Ulrich.
Yes, High Queen. He bows once more before taking heavy steps out of the room, and he mounts up on like a cricket and rides towards his armies.
Cricket's back is bowed.
Was his other son at the meeting at all?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would say your assumption is probably that he left his son behind at House Arctos and Riddle Hill Run, or at the keep in Riddle Hill Run. In case anything should happen to him, his heir will take over.
Makes sense.
I'll set up my divination ritual.
Yeah, for sure.
Go find that out.
Well, this is
Divination Bay.
great news if we can make sure that we're there if the armadillo is part of this group that's coming, which, I mean, I don't think he's going to like that allied forces of House Arctos and Vulpes have made it this far, and
knowing Bristlebeard and his little spiders, he probably is well aware before they even started marching what was going down. But if we can be there and he's present at this rendezvous tomorrow, there's no better time to take him out. Right?
You're right. I think this is the time to end it.
Elzor, what type of divination are you doing?
I actually can't do scry because I don't have any 5th level spell slots left, but I can do divination as a ritual.
Okay.
This puts me in contact with a god or god's servants. You ask a single question concerning a specific goal, event, or activity to occur within 7 days. The GM offers a truthful reply. The reply might be a short phrase, a cryptic rhyme, or an omen. Spell doesn't take into account any possible circumstances that might change the outcome, such as the casting of additional spells or the loss or gain of a companion.
Okay.
If you cast the spell 2 or more times before finishing your next long rest, there's a cumulative 25% chance for each casting after the first that you get a random reading. The GM makes this roll in secret.
Interesting.
I won't be able to know which of the things that he's in, but I can know if he's with that group.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and ask your questions. As Elzor sets out his royal bones, not royal bones, his alder bones. Wind fills the tent. All of you just hear the sort of like rushing of the wind through and around your ears that kind of fills the space. The tent flaps in an awkward way. But Elzor, it actually coalesces in your ears, and as you ask questions, you hear a voice in response that seems to speak as the wind. What do you ask? And how many questions do you get?
Just one.
Just one. Excellent.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm gonna crowdsource this before I actually cast the spell, just to make sure we're all on board with the wording of it.
Okay.
But what I feel like I should just ask is Bristlebeard physically present with the force that is marching towards Hellheart Keep? I feel like that's the most specific that we can get to know if he's actually coming or not.
Yeah, Munin is like, I don't think it gets more specific than that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's when I actually perform the ritual, that is the question that I might ask. Oh, Zephyria, is Bristlebeard physically present with the group marching towards Howlheart Keep?
That's all you get.
The wind has spoken that the armored spider approaches. So unless there's another one of his network of spiders that was known as the armored spider, I think that would indicate Bristlebeard is with the Force, since he is magically armored up with diamond-y stuff, right?
At that.
It's also just an armadillo. That's armor.
Oh, yes, also that.
You can all make a politics check to see if you recognize anyone else as having a moniker as the Armored Spider.
Why can't the gods ever just say, yep?
Would be fine.
Politics.
Ooh, that's a nat 20.
Oh, yeah.
Why even bother?
Politics would be what?
Intelligence plus, well, for Paco, it's just intelligence.
18.
Nice. 18, a natural 20.
So brings me to 29.
Just a 22.
Nice.
Jesus.
So I'm going to say
I'm just
Hugin.
imagining a spider and armor is what I'm doing.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Proficiency? Proficiency? That's Azalea.
Get it on the
I have a different character sheet.
You certainly do.
Not much is the answer.
Okay. I'm going to say, Elzor, on your 22, you're pretty certain that this is a cryptic reference to Bristlebeard. It seems pretty as cut and dry as a vague, poetic god can be. Hugin, you are 100% certain that that moniker does not exist for any other creature within the Nettlewood Grove. It is not a title that has ever been given out, and typically, Spider, the moniker of Spider is only given to either somebody who is like toxic, or in reference to Bristlebeard because of his network of spies, or both. Yes, he is pretty toxic.
I can smell blood.
You all are provided with disguises. You're provided with uniforms of the army of House Arctos that you can don if you wish. These were gifted, and they won't change your armor in any way. It's basically just like a surcoat that you can put over your armor. Half black, half silver, sort of like tabard situation that has a depiction on the chest of a mountain that is spotted with holes, and there are rays of silver light that sort of shine through as the sun rises behind it.
We really should speak with Lady Basil as well before we rest for the night. If you like, I could take her to where we have laid Azalea to rest.
Don't be surprised if she doesn't behave in a way expected of a mother grieving a child.
Everyone grieves differently.
At least she has the benefit of being able to lay her to rest.
Yes. Yes. I mean, there will be time that we may do so for the other fallen after this is all settled. We may
It's a
retrieve
hand on
them.
your shoulder. Or a wing.
Yeah.
I hope you're right, Elzor.
I am confident that we will.
Elzor, you exit your tents that you've been brought to, where you've been set up for the evening, and go to track down Lady Basil. Asking around, you get some directions from soldiers who have seen kind of the direction that she headed off. And as you approach, she's outside of camp a ways, not too far to be dangerous, but relatively out of sight. And as you kind of push through the trees and thick underbrush, you see that she's kneeling with her back to you and has this long scroll of parchment in front of her, as well as this like cartoonishly large paintbrush that you see she dips in ink next to her and is making these long sort of calligraphic scrawling notations and marks on the paper. Do you approach, or do you kind of hold back and see where this goes?
I mean, I'm not going to interrupt exactly what she's doing. I'll try to get an idea of what I'm interrupting before I do so.
Yeah, make a religion check.
Go solo, or did you bring people?
I mean, I told Hugin that I was going to, which I was just like, I did so as, a tacit offer
Yeah, I'll
that
go
she
with
could
you.
come.
Yeah, you can both make religion checks.
I'll use guidance on myself.
Weird that you would need that for
I
a
mean-
religion check.
Religion's hard. It's intelligence-based, and I am not.
It's only a 15 for you.
It is really weird.
23?
Nice. 15 and a 23. Both of you.
Oh,
feels-
24, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. The way that she's going about this feels very practiced and religious, and it is ritualistic in a way. You hear, she doesn't seem to have noticed either of you approach either. You hear light sobs as she's going, and as she takes this parchment, she kind of like lifts it up. There's a moment where it sort of lingers. She brings her paws down and the parchment stays sort of floating there. She grabs something at her side and you hear a sort of scraping sound before there is a spark, and the paper itself slowly burns from one side to the other as these wisps of this bluish smoke sort of rise up off of it. On those rolls, you're both aware that this is a very pagan ritual, something that would probably be practiced in the Lamella Riverlands. There's an emphasis in the Riverlands on not so much worship of a god or a pantheon of gods specifically, but a reverence for nature and the spirits that exist within nature. Not only do they believe that, all animals and bugs have souls, they also believe that the trees have souls and the stones and mountains have souls, that each thing that exists on Farallorn has its own life to it. This is a very traditional morning ritual amongst this pagan religion, where you write out a prayer or a wish or a message to one that you've lost, and the act of burning it is thought to carry the message on the smoke to the spirit wherever it lies beyond, wherever it has found its rest. And you find that she's mourning in her own way, well out of earshot and the eyes of those who would see a pagan ritual and kind of freak out.
I'll wait until she's done, or looks to be done, before approaching and interrupting.
Yeah, you see she kind of sits back and watches as this floating scroll burns away, and the ash joins the smoke and the wind as it does. She kind of straightens and leans back, still with her back to you, before she just kind of calls out, "You may approach."
I will.
She doesn't turn to look at you or anything. She's just kind of eyes closed and sitting and listening.
Lady Basil, we wanted to offer to take you to where we have laid Azalea, if you wish to see her remains.
That won't be necessary. And she just kind of leans forward, stands up. I will not lie and say that I am healed, but I've begun making my peace. I do appreciate the offer.
I know that we don't share a faith, but if you wish to speak with someone privately about this matter, I would be happy to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And I will keep your confidence, of course.
With all due respect, that won't be necessary.
As you wish.
And as she starts to kind of walk past you, she stops and reaches out and actually kind of squeezes your wing, Hugin. There's clear tracks of tears in her fur from where she's been crying out here. And you can still see that sort of glossy wetness to the eyes. But behind it, there's this spark of deep-seated hatred. And she looks at you and she just says, "Let's kill that bastard tomorrow, shall we?"
He killed my queen. Then he killed my sister.
She squeezes your hand and walks away. Is there anything in particular that the rest of you get up to in the evening before the coming fight?
Hopes and prayers, for sure.
I think Hugin's gonna try to seek out Munin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you find her. She, out of sort of deference and respect, she didn't go with you to find Lady Basil. She stayed behind in the tent that you guys will share. Hugin?
I think that there's just this panicked, lost look on Hugin's face of what the fuck am I doing?
Mm-hmm. She just steps forward, and a few days ago, she probably would have stopped herself. But today she steps forward and she hugs you. She doesn't say anything. She's just a presence that is there, adding just a light pressure and warmth.
And Hugin just kind of slowly puts her arms around her too. Doesn't say anything, just takes the comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happens tomorrow, I'm glad I met you.
I'm glad that you allowed me to.
The armadillo has to die at any cost, including my own life.
We'll do everything we can to make sure that it doesn't come to that. What about the rest of you? Anything?
Guess I'll go talk to Elzor, because I feel like we've been traveling together and haven't really talked.
Yeah.
Hey, mate.
Oh, hello. Are
So,
you ready for
oh yeah.
tomorrow?
Oh yeah, I've been ready for a long time.
Yes, yes. It seems that there's a lot of scores that will be settled on this battlefield that is pending.
So, I mean, I get why the rest of them are here, but what's in this for you?
Well, as I've said before, I did see all of you become important to your land in one way or another. Azalea becoming the rightful High Queen, that title passing to Hugin, all of this betrayal preventing them from fulfilling those roles, the hands of this armadillo. I didn't see any other path but to help right those wrongs.
I mean, every other, like, holy person I've ever met, they'd much rather be holed up in a temple or, you know, sit and wait things out.
Well, the path of my life has not been one of avoidance. I was not always a cloistered cleric.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
What were you for? You little troublemaker?
It's a complicated story. I don't know if it would be helpful to share all of the details of my past, but to just say that now I do serve Zephyria with true faith, and I feel that she would want the armadillo removed because he is a cancerous blight on this land.
Okay. So she's like the wind, right?
Yes. She's many things. The wind is the easiest way to explain it. She brings the storms, she brings the rain, she brings all of the things that go with the wind.
I can kind of get that. Like, we always saw, I guess, spirituality, more the things around us, the bugs, the trees, the earth, the wind.
Yes. There are many forces in the world. We choose to focus on the wind as it, fills our wings, fills our lungs with breath, the breath of life, all of those things.
All right. So wait, what'd she say about, like, violence and all that?
As I said, she brings the storm as well.
All right. That's what I like to hear. It's been not fun, but it's been an adventure.
It has been an adventure. It hasn't always been fun, but I have enjoyed your company.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yes. I hope that we both make it through this coming battle. And if we don't, well, we'll have made an impact at the least.
You got any dying wishes?
It's an interesting question that one doesn't often hear.
Like, is
Outside
it
of a threat.
ashes? Do you spread ashes into the wind, or?
I imagine that you could give my remains to Munin and she could take them to the temple.
Okay.
They would be able to sort it out.
All right. All right. If I kick it, plant a tree on me or something.
As you wish.
All right.
What sort of tree would you like me to plant?
Oh shit.
A biggin.
What's one that, like, has a bunch of birds and bugs and stuff living in it? Let's go with one of those. Not the hardest wood. Something a little bit softer.
Vitex.
Mm-hmm.
Vitex. Great for pollinators.
Yeah, that one.
Of course.
Hey man, what do you do for work? What do you want me to do with your body if you die?
You want me to burn you up so Zephyr can spread you one more time?
The final spreading, and if you will.
The final spreading. Before night even falls, because remember, you guys arrived here early in the morning, the armies actually return to camp and have a number of prisoners in tow. An announcement is made that the rebels have, after a brief combat,
No shit.
eventually surrendered, and Howlheart has been reclaimed. The foot soldiers are instructed to dismantle camp, and you actually are led back into the city of Howlheart Keep that has been reclaimed.
When you said the rebels at first, my heart sank for a moment. So I thought you meant the rebels. No. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to pick a side.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The Arctos rebels
Yeah.
have been captured. You all returned to Howlheart, stepping in through the walls into the massive keep and the city within. Hugin, where do you go?
That's a good question.
Did we see anything when we're being led back in?
No, there are fortifications that were set up,
Are there
sort of like
any-
makeshift like wooden spikes on the outside of the walls.
Any heads
Make
on
a-
spikes?
Make a perception check.
30. I think unless it's more.
You do, but you don't recognize any of them. Pakal specifically, you don't recognize any of them. As you kind of point them out, I would say, Hugin, you see a number of coyotes that worked at the Temple of Ardors that were loyal to House Luperel. You see basically a number of loyalists, but no one that was particularly high-ranking. As you are kind of re-entering the city and walk past these sites, you see that the place is still in a state of disarray. After the incursion happened, the bears didn't really have time to like make this place home. They sort of just invaded and fortified and were from that point on defending. As you're stepping in, Brass is kind of walking next to you. He's like, you know, now that you are soon to be High Queen, you will have to name a king of Howlheart, of Timberhaven, or queen. I'm not saying I want the job, I'm just saying you should consider you'll need to put someone you trust on the throne here, assuming you keep the thrones around.
Right.
Bugs for thought.
You could still say food.
Why would I do that? As Hugin is given this this little tidbit to mull over, but probably more focused on the day to come, you all re-enter Howlheart and probably find your rest within the castle, as there are a number of soldiers and servants to House Arctos who have been sent in to clean the space out and actually start like restoring some things. Hugin, you could go to your own bedroom if you wanted.
I think she thinks about it and then finds herself in the Temple of Ardors.
Do you guys follow?
Well,
I don't know. Does it seem like she wants company, or does it seem like she's going off to do something on her own?
I kind of feel like the vibes of Hugin lately are that she's just kind of going places, and if you follow, you follow.
I'll follow from a distance.
Yeah, we'll say you guys are kind of like out in the courtyard where you took down the bears just the day before, and Hugin, you step inside the temple.
Yeah, I go to the cabinet where Flank used to keep the wine, and I go up to the altars with it, and I just kind of kneel down in front of it.
You kneel before and kind of like pop the cork, and you go to take a drink, and you feel something like hit your beak, and kind of like looking in, you pull out a little scroll, and opening it up, in very familiar floral script of flank. It just says, "Nice try."
Hugin starts crying.
That's where we're going to end this episode of A War of Fang and Fur. We'll see you next time for the finale
Oh, fuck.
of season 2. Did you think I was lying when I said that the final battle approaches?
I thought you were trying to fake us out. I thought maybe we chose options that.
Sometimes it is what it is.
Well, shit.
The voice that I speak with normally is a form of prayer to Zephyria. But if I'm going to be talking to you as just an owl, just a bird, you have a destiny.
He assumes that I have recaptured Howlhot so that it might go back into the hands of the High King and they can appoint a noble family to take over. He claims that they will raise up one of the lesser houses to a status of greater nobility to take over the keep. And I have agreed, as far as he knows, to relinquish it to him upon our meeting at the gates. The palanquins are brought forth. Worth noting, outside of our purview of this map, there is an army stationed. They're kind of to either side. There's also, outside of our purview, sort of behind my screen, there are archers along these walls from House Arctos and House Vulpus, and there are also foot soldiers standing just within the gates and within gates that are kind of on the sides as well, ready to rush out should the need arise. Pockle, you're the first to notice, as you see 2 shambling corpses step out from the palanquin. You have not.
What the fuck?
You have not seen them in person.
No.
Get up, you useless piece of shit! Make yourself useful and kill the bird!